Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Keys family. We have reached the end of yet another season, and it was packed. It was packed. We're going to dive in, per usual, into our season wrap up and then talk about what you can expect for season three. I'm just still so honored. I really do consider it a privilege to come to you all and bring guests, bring experts, bring entrepreneurs, bring corporate experts, nonprofit experts to you all to share their story. And the more I talk to people, the more I realize that this work is so necessary, right? It is so necessary. It warms my heart when I hear feedback that, I was thinking about doing that, but then I listened to this episode and I'm like, let me see if I can connect with them. Um, I love it. Like I absolutely love it. I don't want to ever stop this, right? And I know that there's a happy balance between podcasting and actually being physically in the community and interacting with you all individually. So we'll get to that a little later in this episode, but I'm excited about what lies ahead and the work we've already done. So thank you to those who listen. Thank you to those who subscribe. Thank you to those who provide feedback. Like, thank you for the reviews. You all, thank you so much for rocking with me now 2 seasons deep and going into this third season. I love what I do, and to have people say I'm finding value in it means so much to me. So thank you. This season, we had 10 full episodes. And for the first time, I didn't do any solo episodes. Like, they were all guest interviews. So you received a lot of content, a lot of insight, a lot of input, starting with Tatiana Chamorro, Latina marketing mompreneur. When I talk about like goal setting queen, right? She comes to mind. She moved to the US in, I want to say 2015, give or take. And has just been killing it. Like, the determination and the way she plans her next steps. If you missed that episode, it's absolutely one you need to go back and listen to now, especially as we are here at year end, just to hear some of her tidbits and her process around setting goals and her determination. So that was episode 1, of course, season 2. Pete Alcide joined us for episode 2. And this man has a PhD in psychology, a film on Amazon Prime. And we talked about really your path, right? Your educational path, and how it may not always look like you think it's going to look, and how, if you have a desire to go in direction X, let's say to go into the film space, here's how you go about doing that, right? Here are the next best things for you to consider. So plenty of gems shared in that episode. The third episode was Tina Baxter, right? Where we talked about being a nurse practitioner, being a CNA, right? That nursing field. I'll tell you, it's tied for the most downloads this season. It's that episode, and then another one I'm going to share with you in just a second here. And then it blew up on TikTok. So, like, I share some of these episodes on TikTok. The engagement was there, the views were there, Tina was there interacting and providing feedback and answers to questions. So if you missed that and you have an interest in nursing, you definitely want to check that out, because she shared so much information based on her expertise in the field. So highly recommend. Rachel Robinson. So she is also tied for most downloads between her and Tina Baxter, where we talked about being an attorney, specifically for victims' rights. And this episode for me was, out of this season, the most touching, the most heartfelt, the most I'll say it is certainly for a number of people out there who feel like um, just the odds are against them, who feel like, maybe they're struggling in school or struggling at home, right? Um, Such a success story, such a success story. Shout out to Rachel for a second because she opened up. She allowed herself to be vulnerable. She shared so much that I was very much moved. And so you have to listen to the episode to really hear it and feel it and connect with it. But it was so awesome. So that was episode 4. Damon Daryl Naylor jumped in episode 5 and really shared some major keys. Like, I call this the keys to the office. I think y'all know why. In large part because I got the keys. But anyway, it comes from a song that I absolutely love. One that I sang, and I think my oldest daughter played it. Just a little backstory. She played it when I picked up the keys to my second house. And just the excitement, right? They're definitely my biggest cheerleaders. I talk about them on here sometimes, but they are truly my biggest cheerleaders. So it stemmed from that. And Damon did not disappoint with his keys to success. Like here's what I'll say to you. Pen and paper, listen to the episode because there are 4 questions that he covers. And I think they're great journaling questions, right? They're great as you start to think about what's ahead for you. And I say that because I know some of you are dealing with layoffs, right? And you're uncertain about those next steps. I say that because some of you are, again, in goal setting mode, right? Preparing for the new year. 4 questions, 4 awesome questions that you want to just really work through. And of course, reach out to Damon for additional support. He's beyond awesome. Hey, Damon. Episode 6 was Sabrina Walker Hernandez. And when I tell you this guru in the nonprofit space, like, just poured into us, really talking about the importance of gaining work experience, which I talk to you all about all the time. But she talked about gaining that work experience while you're in school, right? And as a hiring manager herself, she was speaking from her experience with hiring individuals, recent college grads. And then she also talked about the importance of building relationships. As a matter of fact, she stressed the importance of building relationships. And so I'll echo what she said, but definitely, an episode that you all want to check out. Then we moved into episode 7. Yes, this has been a full season with Vanessa Eccles, who is now a retired award-winning news anchor, and pouring her story into her writing. And she talked about the importance of preparation, persistence, right? And not being afraid to fail, right? She actually knew what she wanted from the beginning and was determined to not just achieve the goal, but excel. And so, hats off to Vanessa for that. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Episode 8 was my girl, Sophie Abdul-Razak. So FinTech CEO, co-founder of Good Fine. Oh my gosh. Talk about a fire episode. Fire. That's the word that comes to mind. Like, she had me ready to just jump headfirst into my goals, jump headfirst into networking. Like, she was on fire, and my gosh, it's infectious. So when you're kind of like, I don't feel up to it today, like, oh, I don't feel like, listen to that episode. She really talks about hard work, showing up with confidence, really owning the room you're in, right? Like, oh, I love it. So that's episode 8. So talk about a good Monday motivation episode every week. So episode 9 was my girl Tremaine Wills, who, you know, as another Black woman in the financial services space, I was excited to have a conversation with her, and she did not disappoint. Like, she was very open about the challenges, right? And then talked about how you have to find your people, you have to find your network. In industries where we are few and far between, you really need to be intentional. And the networks exist. The communities of support absolutely exist. So thank you, Tremaine, for sharing that. That's another episode I shared on TikTok that was received well, and there's engagement. So, and yes, we're on TikTok. So I'll say, let me, before I jump into the 10th episode, I'll say the TikTok spaces where you will find me. Not thinking about branding colors, right? Not thinking about the grid. My face is not beat, right? Like there's no, like, it's just me coming to you, chatting about something. And sometimes it's resume or interview or what have you. Sometimes it's just me and my kid, outside, or whatever it is. It's very much unfiltered, right? Very much unfiltered. But you still get, right, the tips, you still get the keys. It's just unfiltered, it's unpolished, right? And that's fine. I love it. I love the authenticity of it. So yes, I'm on TikTok. So check out a couple of recaps there as well. And then episode 10 was Mary Adeyemi, and she was the first international guest. So she's over in the UK for the podcast, and she's in the banking space. And when I tell you, like, we instantly connected when we initially spoke, because there's so many parallels in our stories, our experiences in financial services, right? There's a lot that's common, not just that's happening here in the US, but also in the UK. And she's recently written a book that really talks about finding your strengths and then using those strengths to achieve career joy, right? And I love every bit of that thought process, right? I love the book. The book is a must. The book is like, it's not even up for discussion. The book is an absolute must. But I love that episode because she was my counterpart, my colleague, my peer across the water. So certainly listen to us vibe and talk about our experiences there. The next episode is this one, where I get to again say thank you. This is episode 11, and I am saying the gratitude that's pouring from me is intense and genuine. And so thank you. Season 3 drops December 27th. That's our winter season. And I promise there will be more solo episodes as well. But we're still bringing guests. Like, I still have to interview my people. I still want you all to hear from the professionals who are doing it and doing it well. So we're talking a number of industries that will be covered, probably kicking it off in the real estate space, because I know there's a lot of passion around that. And then there are a couple of other like roles you would not expect, but I think it's important to paint a full picture of what you can do, right, in different career aspects, right, different career paths. There are so many options. It's not always what you see, posted on LinkedIn. Like, there are different roles that exist. And so we want to talk about some of those more unique positions. So you'll have some of that in season 3 for sure. I'll say this. If you have not done so already, you want to be sure to subscribe wherever you consume your podcast nourishment. Definitely subscribe. I'd say share. I found that Sharing is caring, even though when it comes to food, specifically cheesecake, but I digress. I don't share. Definitely sharing is caring. So please continue to share the episodes that speak to you and or that you feel would speak to a friend or family member. Make sure we're connected on social. I already touched on the whole TikTok foolishness I got going on, but definitely make sure we're connected on social. I am also on Instagram, Facebook. I'm in a number of places, and really even expanding more in Pinterest because I love that stuff. I get on to look at one thing and then, there's the rabbit hole. So we're all over. So be sure to connect with us. The best way to find us, I'd say, is to start with the website, which went through a bit of an overhaul, a bit of a dissection this season. And now we have services. Yay! And so in addition to doing more solo episodes this coming season, I am also introducing services into the equation because a few of you have asked how we can work together one-on-one. So my suggestion, really, if you're interested in that, is to schedule a discovery call. They're free. It's just an opportunity for me to ask you some questions and figure out kind of what your needs are and what we need to do to partner to kind of get that needle moving forward. So check it out again. Discovery calls are free. Calendar is open. Website is www.thekeystotheoffice.com. Again, that's www.thekeystotheoffice.com. That will take you everywhere. So there's a link there for the podcast. There's a link there for the services. And then you can kind of peruse around once you're on the podcast page, because there's also a blog if you love blogs. A little something for everyone. So again, as we close this episode, thank you all so much. I appreciate this community. Continue to share, and we will see each other in season 3. Again, that drops Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. In the meantime, go be amazing, family.